In the vast expanse of the galaxy, the Galactic Empire had long reigned supreme, its iron grip over star systems cemented by its advanced technology, millennia of tradition, and an unchallenged military might. For 3,000 years, the Empire dominated the cosmic playing field, methodically ensuring that no species, culture, or civilization posed a threat to its carefully maintained hierarchy. Its ships, designed with ruthless efficiency and stark elegance, had become a symbol of this dominance, unchanging through the centuries. But deep in the fringes of known space, humanity, long forgotten and isolated, was preparing a return that would send shockwaves through the Empire, altering the galactic landscape forever. The story of humanity's exile from the greater galactic community was a tale of rebellion, pride, and ultimately, survival. Humanity had once been part of the galactic fold, a burgeoning species with an insatiable thirst for exploration and innovation. However, their rapid rise, combined with their unyielding spirit, often put them at odds with the Empire's rigid traditions. As humanity began to push the boundaries of what was technologically possible, they faced increasing scrutiny from the Empire. This culminated in a catastrophic conflict known as the Solar Rift Wars. The Empire, unwilling to allow any potential rival, crushed humanity's fleets, isolated their home systems, and imposed a galactic embargo. Cut off from the rest of the galaxy, humanity's colonies in the Sol system and its surrounding stars were left to fend for themselves. Many across the galaxy believed that, without access to trade, technology, or resources, humanity would regress into a dark age, or even face extinction. And for a time, it seemed that prophecy was coming true. Early years after the isolation were marked by internal strife, wars over resources, and the collapse of centralized governments. Entire colonies were lost, and what had once been a proud spacefaring civilization teetered on the brink of annihilation. However, out of the ashes of despair, a new kind of humanity was born. The struggles of survival forged them into a resilient and fiercely independent people. With no external resources, they turned inward, adapting and innovating in ways that the rest of the galaxy could never have anticipated. Over centuries, they rebuilt their society, not with the help of galactic trade or the Empire's technology but by rediscovering and refining their own. Where the Empire's ships were cold, utilitarian, and built for sheer firepower and intimidation, humanity's ships began to evolve into something far more unpredictable. With no templates to rely on and no outside constraints, human engineers embraced creativity and chaos. Their designs grew increasingly strange, unconventional, and audacious, driven not by tradition but by pure necessity and the desire to outthink the galaxy that had once abandoned them. By the time humanity was ready to return to the galactic stage, its ships were like nothing the galaxy had ever seen. The first sight of a human fleet shocked Imperial scouts' ships that defied the symmetrical lines and polished metallic finishes of standard Imperial warships. Humanity's vessels seemed almost organic, with hulls that twisted and curved like the bodies of deep-sea creatures from ancient Earth. Some bore resemblance to predatory beasts, with sharp angles and jagged edges, while others seemed to pulse with energy, covered in reflective materials that shimmered in the starlight. The first encounter between the Galactic Empire and the newly revitalized human fleet happened on the fringes of Imperial space. A small Imperial patrol fleet had been sent to investigate strange energy readings from an uncharted sector, only to stumble upon a massive human warship. The ship, named Eclipse, dwarfed even the largest Imperial dreadnoughts. It was not only its size that was impressive, but the way it moved gracefully, almost as if it were alive, adapting its trajectory with an eerie fluidity that no Imperial ship could match. The patrol fleet, following protocol, attempted to open communications, demanding identification and submission to Imperial inspection. But the humans had no intention of submitting. They had spent 3,000 years preparing for this moment, preparing to remind the galaxy that they were not forgotten, and certainly not weak. The Eclipse unleashed a display of power unlike anything the Empire had ever seen. Its weapon systems were unlike traditional laser cannons or railguns. Instead, they seemed to harness the very fabric of spacetime itself. Gravitational distortions rippled through the battlefield as human ships deployed weapons that bent light and twisted space, allowing them to fire at impossible angles. The Imperial fleet's shields, long thought impenetrable, were torn apart by bursts of energy that defied known physics. In the chaos, the eclipse disappeared as quickly as it had arrived, leaving behind a devastated Imperial patrol and a galaxy-wide mystery. Word of the encounter spread like wildfire through the Imperial Senate, reaching the ears of the Emperor himself. The question on everyone's lips: how had humanity achieved such power? The Imperial Navy's High Command, long accustomed to being the unchallenged masters of the galaxy, was both furious and terrified. For millennia, they had relied on a slow but steady process of technological evolution. Every ship in the Imperial fleet had followed the same basic design principles for thousands of years: massive, heavily armored, and outfitted with overwhelming firepower. Innovation was frowned upon, tradition was law. But now, faced with a potential new rival, the Empire was forced to re-evaluate everything. Further encounters with human ships revealed even more shocking details. Humanity had developed propulsion systems that allowed their ships to perform hyperjumps with a precision and speed that far surpassed anything the Empire could muster. These engines, powered by dark matter and quantum entanglement, allowed human fleets to appear and disappear across vast distances, evading Imperial fleets with ease. Even more impressive was humanity's shield technology. Instead of relying on traditional energy shields, which created a static barrier around the ship, human shields were adaptive, constantly shifting and reforming to counter specific threats. These shields could absorb incoming fire, analyze the energy signature of enemy weapons, and then reconfigure themselves to become nearly impervious to that type of attack. Perhaps most terrifying for the Empire was humanity's mastery of AI integration. The Empire had long banned the use of advanced AI in ship control systems, fearing the loss of human oversight. But humanity, unburdened by such restrictions, had fully embraced AI as a partner in ship design and combat strategy. Human ships were not just vessels, they were sentient beings, capable of making split-second decisions, adapting to enemy tactics in real time, and learning from each encounter. This gave them a level of agility and unpredictability that the Empire simply could not match. As reports of humanity's return continued to flood the Empire, panic began to set in. How had they achieved such technological advancements in isolation? Why had they not regressed as the Empire had predicted? The Imperial Senate called for immediate action, but the truth was, the Empire was woefully unprepared to deal with this new threat. Humanity had not only survived its 3,000 years of isolation, but they had thrived. Cut off from the rigid traditions of the Empire, they had been free to explore new ideas, experiment with dangerous technologies, and push the boundaries of what was possible. And now, with their bold new ship designs, they were ready to challenge the Empire for control of the galaxy. The Galactic Empire, once unchallenged and unquestioned, found itself in a battle not just for control of the stars but for its very survival. And at the heart of this new conflict was humanity, bold, unyielding, and determined to prove that they were no longer the forgotten species of the galaxy but a force to be reckoned with. In the end, humanity's bold ship designs were more than just an expression of technological prowess. They were a statement of defiance, a declaration that they had returned, stronger and more resilient than ever. And the galaxy would never be the same.